Hello out there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, cats and kittens, dogs and fucking puppies. Everyone's wrestling fans. All the wrestling fans out there. Boy, what a crazy week this has been, huh? Money in the Bank, pay-per-view. A fucking wrestler, disgruntled wrestler, fucking getting into sexual assault charges, getting into troubles with the law. Fucking incompetent individual. Fucking prick. And of course, a major situation happening on Raw this past Monday. And it's a joy. Don't worry, it's a joyous occasion. We'll talk about that in a little while. But nonetheless, welcome to the Wrestling Enthusiast Real Talk. I am Eric Peralta, otherwise known as the Wrestling Enthusiast. Today, as we mentioned previously, we're going to talk a lot of shit. And a lot of shit about the week of professional wrestling. Especially with the Money in the Bank pay-per-view that happened just this past Sunday. Now, let's take a look at some news headlines. And this will be a few. I'm only going to discuss a few notable ones. Sting is not employed with the WWE anymore. Sting is now a free agent. Report has it that the WWE let his contract expire. He is no longer with the company, and he is free to do so to wherever he is willing to go to. And I have a funny feeling that AEW might pick him up. I don't know if he's going to do a wrestling match. I seriously doubt it. Ever since he got buckle bombed by Seth Rollins 5 years ago, I seriously doubt that that's going to happen. I would like to see it, but, you know, what the fuck? Shit happens in professional wrestling, and I know you feel that way too. Nonetheless, there is a viewing. We will discuss the ratings between AEW Dynamite and NXT. This week's episode of NXT drew 604,000 viewers on the USA Network, which is down about the previous week, which did 663,000. They drew a 0.15 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is down from the previous 0.18 from last week, and that's roughly a 0.03% drop. So, yeah, they've got some work to do over there. It hasn't been looking good for them, especially in the past couple of weeks of the shows they've been doing. I mean, I've liked 2 episodes of NXT, but I think AEW Dynamite has been pulling the strings on a bit more. Speaking of pulling strings for AEW Dynamite, AEW Dynamite on TNT pulled in 654,000 viewers, which is down from the show last week that did 732,000. They drew a 0.23 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is down from the previous 0.28. So overall, both shows are down. Both of them, they've been doing good shows. But here's what I liked. And I like this a lot more than I like this shit a lot more than the bullshit that was going on with NXT. And I like NXT. All the roster, the athletes there are fucking phenomenal. But they cannot handle this type of situation where there's no crowd there. So it just looks like it's very putsy. It's very putsy. It's not that good. We got some match announcements going on because we got some upcoming pay-per-views that are going to happen. First off, AEW Double or Nothing, their pay-per-view, which is going to happen on May 23rd. It's going to happen at Daly's Palace over in Jacksonville, Florida. I doubt that there will be any fans in attendance today on that pay-per-view. So there will be no fans in attendance, which is unfortunate. However, looking up through the matches, we see Cody's going to take on Lance Archer for the AEW TNT Championship to determine the inaugural champion. And the big news of that is Mike Tyson is going to go and present the title to the winner of the tournament. Other matches include MJF with Wardlow facing on against Jungle Boy. The AEW World Title will be in place between Jon Moxley and Brody Lee. There will be a casino ladder match for a future AEW World Championship title match. Darby Allin, Colt Cabana, Orange Cassidy, Rey Fenix, and Scorpio Sky have all been announced in this casino ladder match. There will be 4 more participants. Boy, who knows what the fuck's going to happen. It's going to be a wreck fest. AEW Women's World Title will be also on the line. The champion Nyla Rose, the Native Beast, takes on the Shining Samurai Hikaru Shida, and it'll be a no disqualification, no countout match for the AEW Women's World Title. Also, Dr. Britt Baker will take on Chris Statlander in the singles match as they pull off some grudges going on in AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. Private Party Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn will take on Chuck Taylor and Trent with Best Friends. And that tag team match is going to determine a number 1 contendership for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. And then this match that got my attention. Matt Hardy and the Elite, which features Adam Page, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson. They're going to take on the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz. The matchup is going to be a Stadium Stampede match. I have no idea what the fuck a Stadium Stampede match is, but I am intrigued by the idea. And I have a feeling there's going to be 2 venues, and they're going to be using the venues as a weapon of sorts. It's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to that pay-per-view. How the fuck did AEW get Mike Tyson? That's what I fucking wonder. How much fucking money did they pay him? Well, nevertheless, it's going to be one exciting wrestling pay-per-view. Fans or no fans in attendance, I know it's going to be a hoot watching on TV. Speaking of pay-per-views and big wrestling events, they did make Triple H and Shawn Michaels and, of course, Road Dogg Jesse James members of DX, even though they're in a production room somewhere. Triple H made the announcement that because of the 25th anniversary of WWF In Your House, they decided to do something nostalgia. On June 7th, they'll have a WWE NXT takeover in your house. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch as well. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. WWE Backlash will happen on June 14th as well. That'll be an interesting show. We'll take time to review all 3 of these shows right here in the Wrestling Enthusiast Real Talk. You'll hear all the exclusive reviews and what are my opinions on these matches. Are they shit or are they gold? But nonetheless, you're going to hear them from me. All right. Now, there was a news article that got my attention, and it featured former WWE superstar and Combata America's fighter, Alberto Del Rio. Apparently, he's been busted and he's been charged with sexual assault. And according to multiple reports, Del Rio, whose real name is Jose A. Rodriguez Chechuan, he was arrested over the weekend after a woman came forward alleging that the 42-year-old beat and sexually assaulted her earlier this month. She also alleged had photos, and the local news outlet reported it. The woman alleged that Jose Rodriguez assaulted her on more than one occasion, with the most recent being on May 3rd, according to the outlet. It is unclear whether Rodriguez had retained an attorney. A rep for the WWE did not immediately respond to Fox News for requests or any type of, or CNN or any of the comicbook.com. There's more details as they quickly develop. Investigators say that Rodriguez accused the woman of being unfaithful, that the woman allegedly that he repeatedly slapped her when she wouldn't admit to it, per the outlet, citing arrest paperwork. The woman further aligned that he told her to put a dress on and dance for him. However, she refused, and this is when Rodriguez got violent and warned her that if she cried, he'd take her kid and drop him off in the middle of the road somewhere. Rodriguez allegedly then tied the woman's hands with the boxing straps, inserted a sock in her mouth, and sexually assaulted her. And this was ongoing for several hours, and he used objects, according to the San Antonio police. There were also reportedly visible injuries from alleged punches to her back, investigators said. TMZ once reported that the woman states that she did not consent to sexual activity, and that in addition to the second-degree felony charge of sexual assault, Rodriguez was also arrested for domestic violence. Rodriguez posted a $50,000 bond and was released from custody around 3:30 local time on Sunday. Rodriguez, who used to wrestle under Alberto Del Rio, wrestled from 2009 all the way to 2016. So, I'm going to let that sink in for a minute, and I'm going to tell you my real opinion about this shit. First of all, I think this was a fucking... If this is true, then I will say that Alberto Del Rio, Jose A. Rodriguez, is a piece of shit. But first of all, what fucking conspired him to fucking do this type of shit? What made him fucking get him so fucking enraged? Now, if you remember a couple of years back, if you're a wrestling fan and you follow stories like this, you remember he was in a relationship with Saraya Knight, aka Saraya Knight Beavis. You know who Saraya Knight Beavis is? Let me take a look here. Oh yeah, that's Paige, former WWE women's wrestler Paige. Now, sadly, her career was cut short in 2018. Terrible neck injury, but apparently she was in a relationship with Alberto Del Rio at one point. And they got it. They fell in love. They were happy for each other. You know, they met each other and they started getting along with each other. And you know, in healthy relationships, that's what you do. But in this case, he's fucking gotten violent with her too. When they had some sort of disagreement. So he's basically has been called on by the fucking cops, and basically he's the one that's been reported for domestic abuse and domestic violence. So this guy has a fucking temper tantrum problem. Don't get me wrong, I get fucking pissed off easy, but it's not for what you think. I have a low tolerance level for stupid bullshit. That's my problem. Not for fucking I'm doing this for the fun of it. I don't give a shit. I just want to make a podcast that's fun. But in any event, this is fucking stupid. Because it's domestic violence. Look, I don't give a shit. Walk the fuck away. This whole manly shit about, oh, you're a fucking coward if you walk away from a fight like that. No, that's not what because you probably done something wrong. If you did something wrong, that's your ass. Judging by what I hear from these stories, it seems to me like Alberto Del Rio has a problem, and he has a short fucking fuse, and he gets pissed off easy. So fuck him. I don't give a fuck. Look, I understand. A legendary name in Lucha Libre. He's fought in MMA before a few times. Not very well. He's had a couple of fights, but he gets pummeled. I've seen some of his fights. He fought in Pride Fighting Championships against Micro Curl Cop, and he was pummeled. He got kicked in the head, got instantly knocked down to the corner. It was over just like that. And did I mention that he fought with a mask when he was formerly known as Dos Caras Jr.? But that's not the point. The point here, he has a short fucking fuse. So he's a dick. I mean, I never met him personally, and maybe it's wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But this is my opinion. Apparently, if your daughter or your mother is dating Alberto Del Rio, make sure you talk her out of that relationship. Stupid fuck. All right, now let's go take a look at WWE Money in the Bank, and let's see what's going on over there, and see what type of matches that they're going to have. Are they going to have relatively shitty matches, or are they going to have relatively good ones? And in the wake of a pandemic, we're going to wait and see how this Money in the Bank concept formats, where they literally start at WWE headquarters, then they climb up the corporate ladder, literally, go up certain floors, and reach up the rooftop, where they're in the middle of the rooftop is a wrestling ring with the ladder set up, with a briefcase hanging somewhere with cables. Now, keep in mind, I will mention this again later on. The men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches are actually both going to take place at the same time. So apparently we're going to have some cinematic effects here. Just like the way the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match, which was a complete acid trip, which I've already mentioned. Someone on Opium Rectally created that idea. But anyway, so let's take a look. The first match ended up being the pre-show match, the kickoff show, of the Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. Now, keep in mind, I don't really pay too much attention to the kickoff matches. I really don't really care, to be honest with you. So, because I usually figure that these ones are usually like low-level matchups. But to tell you the truth on this one, it wasn't really that bad. I mean, if you look at it closely, you watch a couple of matches here on the kickoff show, they're not really that high of variety of quality. So, but Jeff Hardy, if you watch SmackDown and you saw some of the qualities coming down of him in his career, which pretty much indicates he's on borrowed time now to be doing professional wrestling now. So, and this is what this is turning out to. So they go to the floor in the beginning of the match, and one of the notable parts, they went to the floor. Jeff charges and flies at Cesaro, and then he gets dumped into the barricade by Cesaro. That was a little neat. He brings him back in and kicks him, tries to choke him out on the ropes, then get a second rope elbow strike, and then gets a near fall out of it. There's several moves by Jeff Hardy, when he started getting shit going on for himself. And then he started fighting back, then gets him a spin kick. Then he knocks Cesaro to the floor. Cesaro then slams him on the apron, which apron slams are always painful. And once he got sent back in, Cesaro just hit a second rope leg drop, so it was another near fall right there. Jeff slowly started to fight back. Then he started controlling and then plays the hits for the near fall. Cesaro then tries to hit him with one of those uppercuts of his. Then Jeff started to make a comeback after he got picked up by Cesaro, then Irish whipped him. And then tried to do a trapa and toe hold. And then Cesaro tries to get him back in, try to hit battle after Jeff tried to slowly battle back. Then Jeff started to slowly taking control for a near fall, and Cesaro ended up cutting off the whisper in the wind that he trying to hit him with. And then as soon as Cesaro caught him back. He got him with some uppercuts. Gave him a backslide by Jeff. But then Cesaro's counters, eats a twist of fate. So once Jeff Hardy got the twist of fate going on, then he started slamming Cesaro. Cesaro ended up cutting off a senton bomb, which Jeff was going to finish him off right there. So he cuts him off. And then with an avalanche gut wrench suplex, it's one of Cesaro's moves. Gets a near fall, then he hits him with another clothesline for another near fall, but that doesn't work. Jeff rolled to the floor, and then Cesaro hits an uppercut once again, but then Jeff whips him to the steps after they're battling outside. Jeff dove off the barricades with a clothesline and then came back in, then finally put Cesaro back in the mat inside the ring. Jeff goes up at the top, and then he gives him a swanton bomb, and then he finished Cesaro off. So to be perfectly honest with you, this match wasn't really that bad, actually, if you think about it. I mean, it was a good kickoff opener. I was actually surprised. And once again, no fans in attendance in this show, and which kind of kills the mood a little bit. I will say, Jeff looked fine. Jeff Hardy looked really good in this show. But after a while, you think to yourself, that it probably might have showcased Jeff Hardy's talent, but this no way showcased him. And on a purely in-ring skill level, no. It was just, it was kind of like Cesaro carried the match, in my opinion. He looked a lot better, but, what are they doing to Cesaro these days? So I'm pretty sure they're going to have another matchup down the road. Maybe it's either on an episode of SmackDown, maybe. It's enjoyable, but, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10, so it was solid. So don't get me wrong. When it comes to Jeff's redemption story, as Michael Cole and Corey Graves mentioned, probably like 100 fucking times, well, WWE doesn't do subtly well with over enhancing these stories, especially with these fucking comebacks here. I mean, how many times has Jeff Hardy made a comeback, whether it was a drug arrest, a DUI, an accident, an injury? And this time was an injury. I feel really, really bad. So, I mean, nothing against the guy. I mean, I think he's I'm probably on his way out, but what he's going to do is do his best while showcasing his skills, for the final years of his career. So Jeff Hardy takes it over Cesaro, 6.5 out of 10. Next up, we got the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. It's a fatal 4-way match. We got the champions, The New Day. We got Kofi Kingston and Big E versus The Miz and John Morrison versus Lucha House Party, which is Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik. And then the Forgotten Sons, who just recently got picked up by from NXT. So Jay Cutler and Blake. Cutler and Blake, they're the ones that got... Jason Riker was going to get involved in this thing, but you're going to see there's going to be a fuck up here in a minute. Okay, so here we go. We got this 4-way tag team matchup. 4 teams. So it's an 8-man matchup, and basically the basic rules are of professional wrestling, but since these matches are typically no disqualification, however, tag rules are in effect. So I like how Riker is at ringside. Kofi and Metalik ended up opening the matchup, so there was a couple of grappling here in the start. And then afterwards, they started battling each other out. I think it was really with a couple of Hurricanrana off of Kofi by Gran Metalik. So I think it was cleverly done. Kofi Kingston tries to get him with a drop kick. Um, Blake sends in a blind tag, then he clears out the others, and then Cutler starts joining in, and then they started double teaming Metalik, sorry. And once they started double teaming in, Metalik and Morrison just ended up tagging in. And then they drop kick for Metalik, and Morrison takes him up top, and Metalik hits a Spanish fly. So that was a very good move right there. It was kind of risky, but at the same time, it was good. A little bit towards the matchup, there was a springboard splash that followed once Morrison got tagged in. And Metalik did the springboard splash. It gets a near fall, but then Morrison just cuts him off. And then here comes Riker, tried to jump in. And then he got involved. And Cutler took control of things as soon as Riker, semi-interfered. He didn't really touch anybody, but he tried to get involved. Blake joins in for double teams. And then covers for a 2 count. Then he started to isolate Metalik, and then Metalik started battling back. Gets a nice tornado DDT, which was dope looking. Lindsay ended up tagging in from his partner. Then he started picking up near falls off of a drop salt, which was a unique maneuver. It's a lucha libre maneuver, very good, cleverly done as well. Kofi then came in, and then Blake came in from Forgotten Sons. Morrison and Miz was in, but then Kofi cuts them off, and then the boom drop follows with a Trouble in Paradise, which ended up being countered by the Miz. And once the Miz started countering the Trouble in Paradise, Cutler ended up tagging in, and then attacked Big E. So then Kofi started attacking him, and then he started tagging in. The Afternoon Delight connects for a 2 count. So then all hell, once the midnight hour started to hit, it started to break down. And it was like a big move buffet. They all started just fucking attacking each other with their big moves. Starting to get a nice couple of drop kick here and there. Boom, hits with his Inzagiri. Lindsay and Metalik showing off some great maneuvers on the top rope, using their athleticism on the rope, which is very difficult to do. So anyway, so once Metalik rope walked elbow drop to his opponent, the Forgotten Sons, when they got on Big E, once Lindsay was there, they got dumped by the Forgotten Sons. Now, for some stupid reason, and here's the fuck up, because I like this match, but here's the big fuck up. The referee tossed Riker to the back, and he sent them out to the back. That doesn't make any sense, because it's a fatal 4-way match. This is not supposed to have any disqualifications here. So what the fuck is going on? As soon as that ridicularity happened, there was some dives by the Lucha House Party, but then Big E hits the big ending, and then it pins Glenn Metalik. So 1, 2, 3. The New Day retains their titles, and it's on a really good level. I'm going to give this a 7.5 because they went off to a good start. And it was really good because it was like a SmackDown match, but very good and tons of fun to watch. Lots of knocking each other down and lots of up and down in this matchup. So, but why the fuck did they eject Riker? Why did Jason Riker get fucking ejected? This match is no DQ, dumbass. Did the referee forget what stipulation the match he's fucking working on? Fucking Nimrod. I don't understand what the fuck that... I mean, they was probably not thinking clearly. Okay, but 7.5 out of 10 despite that botch. And that was not a botch done by the wrestlers. It was done by the referee, so that was a big mistake on his part. But it was a 7.5, so good tag match. Next up on the program, Lacey Evans comments on why she will win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Okay. Then Drew now arrives and sends out okay, hold on. Let me rephrase this, okay? Because I did watch this little moment. And very stupid because of it was an interview segment. And and this is what I did. I have decided that when they take it to the back for Charlie Caruso, waiting at this time, the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. So I timed it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drew, you're going to be defending your title against Seth Rollins at... Okay, so I counted 6.4 seconds to wait for a fucking pop. Huh? Are you fucking kidding? They continue to do this shit. They continue to do these scripted fucking promos. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to destroy you. You know what? It reminded me of the time last year around June 2019. There was going to be a really shitty pay-per-view called Stomping Grounds. It was and obviously once the phenomenon of AEW started to go afloat and started uprising, people were getting ready for that shit, and a lot of wrestling fans started to get alienated from WWE. So, anyway, there was a promo between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. They were promoting their matchup, and it was so stupid because it was a wild card rule going on. A lot of wrestlers were not getting any call-ups. Some that were called to NXT were getting shit on. There was a lot of stupidity going on in this fucking match. And then the promo, promoting it on an episode of Raw or an episode of SmackDown, I can't even tell which one. And this obvious scripted fucking promo, because it's obviously something that Drew McIntyre wouldn't do, because I think he would be a pretty good improvisationist. But in this case, Drew McIntyre says, Roman Reigns, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to maim you. I'm going to batter you. I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to disfigure you. You know that's bullshit from the get-go. You know that's bullshit from the get-go. I am actually intrigued. Look he's gonna maim him, destroy him, and disfigure him. This is such good shit. This is entertainment. This is sports entertainment at its best, pal. Fuck you, Vince. Anyway, so this type of shit really has to stop because no one's going to fucking react to it well on TV. What makes you think that people are going to be on TV? The Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn. I know, we're going to talk about that in a minute. So, why wait 5-6 seconds for a pop if nobody's going to come and respond? Can't they at least have someone in the background start cheering if they're going to be doing this shit? Can't we have, somebody... like a cameraman, an announcer, or some fucking one? Aren't they gonna fucking have a reaction to that? Okay, that's enough ranting about that, because this is fucking stupid, and it's just fucking embarrassing that they do this shit. It makes me not really want to watch, but I know that there's an interesting concept going on. So, for that matter, I'm gonna continue to watch. So, the next match. We have this R-Truth. Still waiting for his 24/7 title to come back, but Rob Gronkowski has it. I don't know where the fuck he's at. But R-Truth comes up, and then he joins this is just something to kill time, to be honest with you. MVP starts appearing, popping up with R-Truth, and while they're starting talking smack, here comes Lashley. Lashley gets slapped by R-Truth accidentally. By accident. So what happens in this match? Lashley destroys him. R-Truth jobs. Just gets worked in the corner. Gets tossed around. Hits a spine buster. Truth tried to counter with a suplex, but then Lashley ended up spearing him, and that was it. Why are we having a jobbers match in a pay-per-view? This is a Monday Night Raw type of deal. This is like a SmackDown type of deal. Why are they fucking doing this shit? This is a pay-per-view. People have paid... if they don't have a network subscription, you're paying $10. But if you don't have a network subscription, you're probably paying $50 fucking dollars to watch this shit. What makes you think that this is going to go over? Fucking bums. Corbin comments on the Money in the Bank. See, that shit right there just pisses me off. We already have a no rating match right there. And yes, the R-Truth Lashley match, the match didn't even last 5 minutes. I say, if there was an episode of Monday Night Raw, I give it 3 minutes. 3 minutes tops. But if it's a pay-per-view and someone's going to job, I give them 5. Because you pay more money, and not only that, you're fucking trying to see a show out of it. So 5 minutes minimum. If you beat your opponent at 4 minutes and 59 seconds, it's a no rating. That's just how I am. That's how I rate matches. Fucking jobbers. Okay. So Corbin comments on Money in the Bank, putting himself forward like the douchebag he is. Kayla stirs up trouble with Bayley and Sasha Banks because he's trying to give him some stupid questions for Bayley. So the next matchup is Tamina versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Well, I like Bayley. She's very good. The way the match started, Tamina, I have no idea why she was gone for so long. I mean, I might have suspect reasons for it. I mean, because she's daughter of Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and yes, I know he passed away just a few years ago, and I know she was probably just held back by all the shitty stories that's been talked about with him, the murder of Nancy Argentino. If you've seen that, the Dark Side of the Ring autobiography series, if you've seen that show, you'll know what I'm talking about. But in the meantime, besides the point, Tamina Snuka versus Bayley. And Bayley, she started the match well, slapped her, started talking shit. Then Tamina started hitting her with a clothesline. Then Bayley started countering into a sleeper, but then Tamina just started to escape. Then she followed off with a suplex for a 2 count, gets Tamina saps on her, just fucking pretty much just pickles her, destroys her. But then Bayley ended up powering her back. And then she posts Tamina's knee a few times. Then a couple of times, I should say, actually, because it was probably 3 or 4 times. She found a weak spot in her knee, in Tamina's knee. So then afterwards, then I think what happened was once they gave her drop kicks to the knee and all that shit, it was doing effective damage. But I mean, I hate to say it, but Tamina did not look good in this match. And I think there might have been a reason why she has not won a title. I mean, she's a power wrestler. She has strength. So she has the expectations of a brawler. And I think she works more like that than Bayley. But Bayley is like pretty much like a wrestler. She's much more of a wrestler than she is, as a brawler. Sasha's down at ringside. She looks good. That's a cute little outfit she got on. But besides that, this is not a fashion show. This is a wrestling show. So anyway, pull that aside, her overall skill set, she's very good. She could pull out a brawl and she could put out a wrestling match. Bayley's just an overall good wrestler. It's just Sasha Banks, she's a good wrestler and a brawler. You can see, if you saw the way she wrestled at Hell in a Cell with Becky Lynch, she knows how good of a fucking brawler she could be. So just bring it out, give her some stuff, and she could fight. But back to this match. Why am I talking about that Sasha Banks more than I'm talking about the Bayley versus Tamina match? I'm sorry, but Tamina is just fucking terrible. Nothing against her. I have absolutely nothing against her. It's just that she's not that good. Tamina was fighting back, making the ropes, trying to make up stage this fucking comeback. But Bayley tried to slam Tamina, then she collapsed and then rolled to the floor, and then Bayley started to follow with some strikes. I mean, to the apron. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's like a water break. Then she gets a bottle of water, starts drinking. Then she started dumping it on Tamina. Tamina got pissed. She fought back, followed with a clothesline. And then when she worked over Bayley onto the floor and then went back in, Tamina then super kicked her. And then Bayley gets dumped on the floor and then dumped her over again on the announce table. That was a little stiff. It was fine, but it wasn't stupendous. Once that shit happened, they went back in. And then Tamina headed up to the top, and then the splash was blocked. And Tamina hits a super kick, then a Samoan drop. Then here comes Sasha Banks. She just started distracting her. And then when she was distracted enough that Tamina started to chase, and then ended up Bayley ended up countering it into a crucifix, and then she ended up winning the match 1, 2, 3. Bayley retains her title. And okay, look. Bayley worked really hard in this match. She carried this match pretty much. She did to make it a cohesive match. But it didn't work as it was just meh. The work was meh. It's like the way Tamina showed. It's like the way Tamina wrestled, like the way Andre the Giant did in 1985. It looked a little stiff and slow. I don't know. I mean, it's just really, it's a 5 out of 10. The match was meh. Bayley did her best, but obviously there was some off chemistry here. So that's my opinion on it. Fuck the writers who thought that this making me a good fucking match, because it wasn't. Next up, right after that match was over, they started to beat up on Tamina. And they just kept kicking her ass. Then Seth gets a promo. With me this time, Seth, challenging for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship, Seth Rollins. I counted. 1, 2, 3, 4. Seth, 4.6. 4.6 seconds to wait for a fucking pop. Please knock that shit off. I'm not talking about wrestlers. I'm talking about the fucking bookers. Fucking idiots. That stop for a pop shit has got to come to an end. Please stop. Just fucking stop before I turn off the fucking TV. You fucking cocksuckers. Anyway, so Seth gives his promo. That kind of pissed me off a little bit. I didn't give a fuck about that promo. So now they send it off to Corey Graves and Michael Cole, where they stop hyping about the Undertaker documentary, The Last Ride. Now, I will give credit to where credit is due. The documentary is fucking phenomenal. It is awesome. I suggest anybody to listen to watch it. It's very good. All right, next up here, the Universal Championship match between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. Now, I must admit something. I don't really watch SmackDown that often because I think this is how I look at wrestling. As a wrestling fan, I look at this way. In the WWE, there's 3 brands. You got some of them consider them the A brand, a B brand, and a C brand. The way the WWE goes is like this. Monday Night Raw is the A brand. Friday Night SmackDown is the B brand. WWE NXT is the C brand. But to be honest with you, that is all complete utter bullshit because a lot of hardcore wrestling fans, such as myself, you know for a fact that the best quality wrestling is in NXT because all these up-and-comers, which they signed from the independents, which have years of wrestling experience, maybe more, men and women that have fought hard in the indies and have been known to do crazy shit in the indies, much less great wrestling skill, good fighting abilities, brawling, etc., gimmicks, you name it. A lot of hardcore wrestling fans like the NXT over SmackDown and Raw. Raw and SmackDown is supposed to be the end-all, the be-all, end-all of all wrestling promotions. That's the main goal, to make the biggest money in Raw or SmackDown. But to be fair, here's the deal. Triple H operates NXT. Who operates Raw and SmackDown? Vince McMahon. And obviously, anything that Vince McMahon has produced in the past 10 years is shit. It's complete shit. There are some good moments here and there, yeah, but you got to give credit to the NXT guys. These guys are some of the most underappreciated wrestlers in WWE, as far as I'm concerned. Some of the best. I'm not saying that Raw and SmackDown don't have anybody. They all suck. No, they're all good, very good. They're all among the best. But the problem is they use them like they're fucking children. Dude, stop fucking treating them like shit. You treat them like you're like an old fucking grumpy old man trying to treat these wrestlers like they're fucking kindergarten. Stop that shit. Now, here's the deal. This is how the NXT is the C brand, SmackDown is the B brand, and Raw is the A brand. Now, fuck you. This is how I see it. NXT is the A brand, Raw is the B brand, and SmackDown is the fucking C brand. Yes, I like Sasha Banks. Yes, I like Bayley. Yes, I like Braun Strowman. Yes, I like Bray Wyatt. Yes, I like Roman Reigns. I'm not for wrestling ability because his wrestling ability fucking sucks. But I'm talking about his brawling ability. He's a damn good brawler. Sami Zayn's good. Shinsuke Nakamura's good. John Morrison is good. The Miz fucking sucks. Sorry. That's my feelings. The Miz fucking sucks. Wrestling ability and brawling ability. The only reason why I passed his match at WrestleMania last year was because I gave it a 7.5 was because he was working with Shane McMahon. And it was a match that had a lot of freedom there. So that's the difference. Now, back to this match. Universal title. Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt. Well, Braun overpowers him to begin with. And Bray Wyatt says the smart shit. And he's like, because this is not the Fiend Bray Wyatt. This is the friendly Bray Wyatt, quote unquote. Friendly because, it's the other side of his character. It's funny because Bray gets pushed down easily. And he smiles, he goes, "Oh, you're very strong. You're very, very strong." Keep in mind, there's no crowd, so you could clearly hear what the fuck they're saying. Anyway, Braun basically overpowered him in this fucking matchup. Braun tried to hit a corner splash, then rolls him in the floor. Then Braun charges and gets sidestepped. Then he hits the announce table. And then Huskis Puppet, the Huskis Pig, starts saying, "Oh, God, Bray. Go, Bray. Go, you could do it. You could do it." It's so funny. But at the same time, this is the middle of a fucking match. I thought this was some backstage elements, but then again, this is no fucking people. There's no fucking people here. Just the announcers, the wrestlers, the referee, and the cameraman. That's it. So back in, the lariat gets a near fall. Santon follows and Braun rolls to the floor. This was just slow. Once Bray Wyatt started getting some momentum coming in with a tornado, he hits him with a tornado DDT. And then gets a Sister Abigail and he gets a near fall. Now, there was a corner splash that was followed, and then they went straight to the floor where Braun runs him all over. Then they went back in. Bray kicks Braun back to the floor once again. And then Braun just appeared wearing the black sheep mask, and then all of a sudden, Bray is happy. He started smiling. And then, what is it, like a good minute and a half, 2 minutes wasted in this match? The clock is ticking, by the way. You do have an official timekeeper there. So anyway. So this shit goes on. Oh, hey, you're back. I knew you would come back. I knew it. You welcome home. And then they hug. He hugged his opponent, Braun Strowman. And then the puppets celebrate. Except Rembly Rabbit. No, don't do that, no! It's so fun. It's so... What the fuck, you know? Then all of a sudden, Braun takes off the mask and then stomps on it. Then he power slams Bray, retains. What the fuck kind of a match was this? Why wouldn't Bray be the Fiend? First of all, why? It doesn't seem like this was a personal decision by Bray Wyatt to be the Fiend in this match. So, his most powerful form. But why was he the friendly Bray Wyatt in a title match, fuckers? It's like Balor refusing to be the Demon. Finn Balor, that is. Anyway, the match started off alright. Then this wacky shit started coming on. Think of it as like college theater. You know what I mean? And they're on Broadway. Or they're in Hollywood. It's being Hollywood produced. With a $80 million budget. And they're using fucking experimental shit. And then they're using finger puppets. Look, all that shit is fine. It's gimmicky. I get it. But at the same time, no. I didn't like this fucking match. I hated it. I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. I didn't like this fucking match. This match is a 3 out of 10. That's gonna fucking stink up the fucking place. Even though it's the WWE Performance Center. Fuck that. What the fuck, man? Why not Fiend Bray Wyatt? Basically, you know what this means. This means they're gonna be fucking dragging this rivalry on. Okay, so once that clusterfuck ended, the hacker from SmackDown came back, and he sees everything, he hears everyone, and it is the truth. So, what the fuck are we gonna find out? Then we see an ad for Total Bellas. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that fucking show. I don't like the Bellas. I mean, Brie Bella's okay, but fuck that fucking show. I don't care about it. I'm not a reality TV fan. I mean, if you watch Bad Girls Club, it's fucking hilarious because all you hear is, "Bitch, you What's your name? Bitch, 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 bitch. Fuck. You fuck. Even I find that annoying. I had a friend of mine, always used to watch that shit, and she used to watch it on her phone, and I was like, God damn it. It was like, is that what you're fucking watching? But anyway. So, next matchup, we have Drew McIntyre, the WWE Champion, and he's set to defend his title against Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah. So he has new entrance music. Okay, cool. Once they both enter the ring, they have the big fight title presentation. Ding ding ding! The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first a challenger, weighing in from Davenport, Iowa, weighing in at 246 pounds, Seth Rollins. His opponent, from Ayr, Scotland, weighing in at 262 pounds, he is the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. You know what that is? Fucking crickets. Stop that shit! Fuckers. There's no people. Don't expect a fucking... See, now I'm fucking mad. So now I really don't give a fuck about this fucking match. But I said to myself, there's an interesting concept that's going to be coming up. So I had to balls it out. But I said to myself, mentally, okay, that's strike one with the promos. The backstage promos, that's strike one. Strike two is the damn big fight introductions. That's not necessary, especially in a fucking pandemic when there's no fucking people. Like, people behind the television screen, behind the camera, are going to be all, hey! Fucking idiots. Fucking nimrods. Okay, so let's balls it out here. But if they fuck up one more thing, I'm going to turn the fucking TV off and change it. Or I'm just basically going to smash my TV through the fucking window. Okay. So, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. So, Seth has music, new music, fine, whatever. Monday Night Messiah, okay, fine. If it fits his fucking gimmick, fine, whatever. They lock up. They started working all the way to the ropes, started grappling each other. It looked like a wrestling match, fine, okay. We're doing good here. And then they lock up again. Then they work for the ropes to the break. Then Drew started following with some tackles, and then Seth gets knocked over the top rope, and then back in, and then he gets knocked over the top rope, and then just gets sent out to the floor. Then back in, Seth shoots for a takedown, then he gets stuffed by Drew. Then Drew started following with some tackles, then started dumping Seth. And then once Seth got dumped again, he went out to the floor, then went back in. He started getting frustrated a little bit. Then Drew started following with chops and struts, whipped Seth into the buckles, delivered more chops, and then a back suplex for a 2 count. Seth ended up battling back and then posted Drew, following a suicide dive, then back in with a tope suicida, went back in, and then Seth hits a sling blade, gets a near fall out of it, then follows with a half crab. This was actually turning into an actual wrestling match, and it was good, the most part. I just didn't like that intro in the beginning, but I will give credit to where credit's due. It was actually not bad. There was actually some actual wrestling involved. I saw a couple of kicks and a couple of punches, but at the same time, I also saw some mat wrestling with some attempted half Boston Crab, and then and then a couple of spine busters, power bombs. Seth got knocked, and then he knocked himself over the top rope when I was trying to avoid a Claymore kick from Drew McIntyre. And once that happened, Seth avoided the Claymore, then stuns Drew off the top rope, springboards in, Drew counters into a spine buster, gets a 2 count. Seth ended up firing up and hit a flurry of kicks and then covers for a 1 count, not even close to a near fall, as that is, because Drew had that fuck you offense, which basically is he just said, fuck it, I'm just going to basically do what I can. They made this into an actual wrestling match, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. Drew countered back in a blackout into a future shock, gets a near fall. Drew takes him up to the top, delivers chops, follows him up with a Seth. Then Seth follows him up until Seth kind of crotched him in a little bit. There was a tree of woe that hit him in. Then Drew counted. Drew was countering back in. Then a spider German suplex. It looked really good. I mean, it started grappling off. There was a couple try to hit their finishers. Claymore got countered by a super kick, then a blackout for a near fall. Seth tries to get another blackout, try to get him, and then try to curb stomp him, but then he missed. Then Drew McIntyre then headbutts him. Then they kept trading blows until the Claymore kick finished him off. And it was, and I will remind you, it was one Claymore kick that ended this match. So Drew McIntyre defends his title against Seth Rollins. No new title changes in this show, and that obviously proves it. Well, so we thought. If you count the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which I will explain, which we already know what happened. I thought this match was an 8.5 out of 10. I think it would have been better. It would have been a better matchup if there was a crowd. But I understand the handicap. We're in a pandemic. We can't do shit right now. I thought this was really good. It was a great competitive title match. You know, I don't think Drew was going to go... They teased it well enough for Drew McIntyre to lose this match. But I liked it. I mean, it was 8.5. The only thing that I don't understand is, when with this fucking introduction, the big fight introductions. I'm like, dude, just do it when they're playing their entrance music on the way to the ring. You don't have to do this fucking setup shit like the way Bruce Buffer does it for the UFC. You don't have to set up that way, especially if there's nobody gonna give no fucking reactions. At least over in the UFC, they have their trainers and coaches and family members there. They're going to cheer for them. So why the fuck are they doing this shit? Especially, here's the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. Crick, 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 crick. Who fucking thought of that? Stupid fucking morons. That's what prevented this match from getting a 9 or higher, because that down will shift right there to an 8.5. Yeah, that's minus points, even though not that much. Minus points for the fucking intro. Oh, and by the way, Drew offered a handshake. Seth Rollins accepted it. And then Drew thanks him. Truth gets interviewed and says MVP was tough. Lost a lot of weight, but he beat me. He missed his 24/7 title. And Tisa's getting his baby back, vowing to sack Tom Brady to do so. What the fuck? Oh, man. I got to admit, though, this R-Truth 24/7 title thing is fucking hilarious, in my opinion. See, comedy's done when it's done right, I remember with R-Truth, hey, I know I'm sorry to bust in your parade, but the thing is, I have to protect my 24/7, 48/7, 7-11 European Intercontinental Championship. That's what I gotta do. That's fucking hilarious right there. Just fucking hilarious. I laugh every damn time I see that shit. And how long has he been doing that shit for? Months? Just fucking funny, It's hilarious. Well, now that the elephant... Okay, it's time to address the elephant in the room. Literally. Money in the Bank time. We got the women's match and the men's match is going to be happening at the same time. So, here we go. We're getting introductions like it's a live thing with profile pic and all that shit. And the bio right there, like the way they do on SmackDown. So Nia Jax, Lacey Evans gets introduced first, then Nia Jax, then the men's side AJ Styles, and then Otis comes out. They went back to the women's side and introduced Carmella. And the way they did this was just weird, fucking weird. I mean, they're doing their entrances at the HQ. They're not even nowhere near the Performance Center at this point. So, with that in mind, Shayna Baszler comes out after Carmella. Then they go back to the men's side, and Aleister Black comes out, saying that he beat Austin Theory. Here comes King Corbin, the fucking Possum King, beating Drew Gulak. Wow, that's easy. And then back to the women's side, here comes Dana Brooke saying that she beat Naomi. And then, of course, Asuka's music plays. And they're acting like they don't know where she's at. So, what the fuck, man? And then Otis... Oh, I'm sorry. Rey Mysterio, as I go back to the men, because they were looking for Asuka, but she wasn't there. Back to the men's side, Rey Mysterio said they beat Murphy to qualify, and then they introduced Daniel Bryan last, as he beat Cesaro. Well, and Daniel Bryan's like, hey, you guys ready? You ready to fight? You ready to do this? Let's do this. It's like, then they got to switch back to the women's side. Asuka is hanging off the balcony. The men's side is ready to fight. They're in a circle, and they're like, what the... I'm like, someone throw a fucking punch. Rey Mysterio started do a kick first, and then a brawl started. The women's side starts. Asuka jumps off and jumps on top of all 5 ladies and knocks all of them down to the ground. That was a good way to start. The men's side, not so much. So, I have no clue what to expect from here on out. They all enter, and then they brawl as Asuka dives to the second floor to wipe out the women. Then she takes to the elevator, and the others started to chase around. Then the men started to brawl in the weight room, because that's where they started the match. They were separated from the men and the women. Corbin gets a weight, and was going to attack, who was it? Was it Aleister Black? No, it was Daniel Bryan, I believe. Daniel Bryan ducked out of the way, and Corbin threw the weight at the fucking mirror, and when the glass shattered, Corbin just stood like a fucking dumbass, thinking, "What did I just do? What did I do?" And then they show Otis fighting AJ Styles. King Corbin stands there like a fucking idiot until Daniel Bryan starts attacking him again. It's a fucking fight. What the fuck are you standing there for? And this is... that's funny because dramatic music played when he stood there the whole time. Well, obviously this was produced. We knew that was going to happen. I mean, I like the concept. I like the idea. It would feel more realistic if this was live, or if this wasn't pre-taped. You know what I mean? It would just have that feeling there. I'm not saying cinematic matches are bad. I'm just saying that there's a concept, there's a way to do it, and there's a shitty way of doing it. Now, the background music, I feel like I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 5 for some reason. I don't know why. But it's because of the background music, depending on your situation, and depending on where you're at. So they all fucking fought in the weight room. Otis traps AJ Styles under some weights. And before you know it, we get a Scooby-Doo chase to the bathroom. And Brother Love showed up and cameoed. That was the funny thing about it. Brother Love made a cameo appearance. Talking to Rey Mysterio. I love you. And he goes, I love you too, but I gotta go, man. That was funny. I like the cameos, but at the same time, it was goofy. Otis, Brian, and Alistair started brawling in as the elevator. They all started fighting in the elevator as the women started climbing up the steps to find Asuka. The men ended up appearing. Otis and Brian started beating up Corbin. Once Brian runs off when they started fighting Corbin and Otis. Doink the Clown cameoed. I'm like, I haven't seen Doink the Clown appear in many years. I'm surprised. Well, and now I know it's not the original. I know it's not. No, it's not Matt Bourne. I know. God bless his soul. And I know it's not any of the original Doinks that appeared in the 90s. But anyway. But it was a Doink cameo. Back to the women's side, Nia Jax worked over Carmella as Shayna and Dana started joining in the fight. Shayna and Nia brawled. Then Dana hit a chit shot to drop Nia. And then Dana grabs a Money in the Bank briefcase in the conference room. And then Stephanie McMahon made the appearance and said, hey, stupid, you know something? That's not the real Money in the Bank briefcase. The real thing is on the rooftop. Get over there and start getting it. So that was the story. And while that shit was going on, when Shayna fought Carmella and Lacey Evans, there was a little segment right there where Asuka appeared from the elevator, and then she hid a little bit, and then she ended up running while they're all turned away. Shayna Baszler saw her, and she ended up going after Asuka. But anyway, so apparently there's some goofy shit. Once Carmella laid out Dana, Lacey knocks her out with a woman's right. Styles looked for Ray, and then he sees a picture of Taker on the wall. Then all of a sudden he got scared a little bit, started having flashbacks of his Boneyard match. Aleister Black ended up attacking him, then locked him in the Taker's coffin room. Then they go to catering. There you see is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is out there catering out there, trying to eat whatever food he could fucking find. I guess that's why they called him a walrus, ain't it? Well, I have no right to say there, because with all that fucking food, I have to choose which one to eat. Anyway, while that's going on, everyone from the men's side and the women's side started running in the catering room. And then, ladies and gentlemen, she started yelling out to everyone because everyone started arguing. Then Otis stole his food, and he's like, food fight! Bam! Hits Paul Heyman in the face. That was fucking funny. Then they all started having a food fight. Minus AJ Styles. Shayna Baszler gave a Karafuna clutch to Rey Mysterio. And, yeah. Nia Jax slammed Dana Brooke into a Coke machine. Then she powerbombed Carmella through a table. And I think that kind of finished her off in that sense. If that's what you called that. Otis walked to the kitchen. And when he grabbed a pie, he saw Big Johnny Ace. John Laurinaitis. Let me see if I could do an impression of John Laurinaitis for a minute. Hi, I'm John Laurinaitis. I am the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations and the former interim general manager of Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. That's how he actually talks. Anyway, so they fought up. And so anyway, fought up. No, Otis, Big Johnny Ace gives him a thumbs up. I don't know why he rolled up in a cart or something. I don't know if something's wrong with his legs or something. I'm not too sure. But anyway, Otis pied him in the face. People power. Nice little cameo. While that was going on, there was a janitor mopping the floor on the hallway, and Asuka started blabbering in Japanese. You know, it was funny because the janitor was probably thinking, "Oh, we got another psychopath fucking running around the goddamn hallway. Where the fuck is security?" Anyway, so Asuka started showing up. Then all of a sudden, everyone else started showing up. Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Dana Brooke. They all started showing back up. And then they all started to brawl. Dana Brooke slipped on the wet floor. Nia Jax took out Shayna Baszler and Lacey Evans. And Daniel Bryan and Aleister Black started fighting each other. And then Styles is back in and he started joining in the fight. Then they all started fighting into Vince McMahon's office. And he's there and they all suddenly stopped fighting. Then they realized who it was. And then he goes, "Get out!" And they all start, they're like, okay, we'll leave. They stopped and then they just walked out. And then and then they rearranged his chairs. And, you know, that little thing that was right there. They didn't want to fuck up that dinosaur head. That was actual dinosaur skull in the office. According to a report I heard, Triple H gave him that for a gift. Well, besides the point, and besides him having shitty brainstorm sessions, they closed Vince McMahon's door. And then they started arguing, saying, "Oh, you're the one that told him to put the stuff away, and you listen to him." Then they started fighting again. Corbin then attacked them, and then lays out until Black arrives. Then the women started coming out. Asuka was the first one to go up into the rooftop. She went into the ring. She was about to climb. Then Nia Jax started coming. Asuka and Nia started brawling. Then Lacey Evans started coming and showing up. Nia started fighting everybody, duping her from the ring. But then Nia climbed. Asuka ended up cutting her off. And then she started firing and started kicking and striking her. And then gets cut off with a woman's right by Lacey. And then Asuka gets cut off. And she takes out Nia, and Lacey cuts her off as well. Boom, boom, boom. Gets tossed out from, and then basically Asuka, no one could stop Asuka. All of a sudden, King Corbin starts joining up, and she ended up slapping him, and then he starts fucking knocking him off the ladder, and then Asuka wins. So the women's portion of the match is over. Asuka is the winner. And then you can hear the background music, that the background music plays, the bell rings, and you can hear the ring announcer, "Here's your winner of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, Asuka." And then all of a sudden, the fucking commentators that were silent the whole goddamn time, all of a sudden started making a call. "Well, this is what happened here in the matchup," and they sound not excited at all. Fucking stupid. But then you know what I realized? Michael Cole's and Tom Phillips' over-exaggeration, along with Byron Saxton, and I got nothing against him, but their over-exaggeration is muted. So fuck them. I don't give a shit. So we still got one more portion of the match. That is the men's. Otis arrived, and then but he tries to climb up the ladder, but it breaks under his weight. We all know that that's not made out of metal. It's made out of plastic. So Otis fought Corbin back up and hits him with a caterpillar. Rey Mysterio comes out. He beats up Otis, took out Otis, and then fights with Aleister Black. They started climbing and fighting each other. Styles then toppled over the ladder, and once they started toppling over the run, Corbin starts coming back, start fighting Rey Mysterio. He threw him off the fucking roof. He's dead, man. You killed him. He killed Rey Mysterio. Then he tosses Aleister Black over the roof. You killed Aleister Black too. Looks like we got a double murder here going on. Someone called the CIA of these motherfuckers. You got a degenerate king here who looks like a crackhead who just found a Burger King fucking wrap. And he's a fucking plush toy fucking Burger King crown that he got from a kid's meal at his fucking street corner after he bummed over for a glass of water. But then nonetheless. So this prick starts climbing up the fucking ladder and starts battling Otis. And then AJ Styles started to fight Otis. And then AJ Styles and Corbin started to fight each other. They were fighting for the briefcase. And then boom! A guitar shot to the back of King Corbin. Once they started fighting for the case, when they pulled the case down, no one had complete possession. No one had complete possession of the briefcase. So once they were fighting for the possession, boom, here comes Elias with a guitar shot to Corbin's back. He falls down. AJ Styles fumbles the briefcase, and what does it fall? It falls on Otis's hands. That shell-shocked the shit out of me. I was not expecting Otis to win. Now, the thoughts of this happening, I said to myself, how the fuck is this going to go over? So, Otis winning the money, how the fuck is this going to go over? That's what I want to know. I have no idea how you rate something like this. I mean, there was two unexpected winners. I mean, first of all, let me just say this. Asuka winning the women's portion, I could understand it. I could definitely understand it a bit. Because I could see where they're going. She's one half of the Kabuki Warriors who just recently lost the women's tag team championship. I could get that. That's one. Number two, she has Kairi Sane in her corner. So I could totally understand where this is coming from. I have a possible idea for how this shit's gonna happen. That depends on how everything goes, because this fucking pandemic is so fucking stupid and irritates the piss out of me. Although it's for safety, I will get them that. I'll grant them that. But at the same time, what the fuck? But that's for another rant. I could understand where they're coming with in this one here. So, I can understand. But Otis, I just don't know about Otis. How's this going to pull off? I like the storyline between him and Mandy Rose. I mean, I definitely like that little storyline going on. I have a feeling that there's going to be a time where Dolph Ziggler is going to want to battle Otis for that briefcase. Or better yet, Otis is going to get that title shot or a title opportunity. I will admit, I wasn't entertained by this match. Now, here's the deal. This is the first time I've heard of two matches happening at the same time. So this is the first time I've ever seen something like this shit. Well, on a technicality, the match did end in a ring. There was a ring on the rooftop. So there's something going on there. So basically, in the roof is the ring surrounded by the ladders, and then there's a thing that's hanging with the briefcases. I totally get this. So, I'm going to rate it on a 20-point scale. This match was a 13 out of 20. You could do the math on your own right there. I'm sorry. Actually, let me correct that. 13.5. The women's part was a 7. The men's part was 6.5. The men's part had a little bit of goofiness. The women's part too. Don't get me wrong. But it had a little bit more, for some reason it had a bit more seriousness to it than the men's side. And if you're not counting for fucking tossing out Rey Mysterio and tossing out Aleister Black over the fucking rooftop, falling off a fucking 5-story building You're fucking crazy. But that's what happened. It was a unique circumstance because of a fucking pandemic. Something like this have made preferable adjustments to the fucking business today. I'm not hating it though. I'll give them credit. It just pissed me off of how there was 2 strikes on this show. So fuck. I mean, the scripted backstage promos pissed me off. Then the in-ring introductions of a big title fight, that shit pissed me off too. But and then the fact that the Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman match did not make no sense. I fucking hated it. It was stupid. And I know for a fact they're going to fight each other again. But maybe they should do something that should make more sense. So, let's recap quite quickly. I liked the kickoff show. It was a 6.5 out of 10 for Jeff Hardy and Cesaro. The SmackDown Tag Team title match, that was a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team title match. You had the New Day, the Forgotten Sons, Miz and John Morrison, and then the Lucha House Party. And that was physically great. On a physical standpoint, it was 7.5 out of 10. R-Truth and Lashley did not get no rating because the match only lasted less than 2 minutes, and it's on pay-per-view time. And if it was a short match, maybe I would qualify for a fucking rating. You need to last 5 minutes. It didn't do that. So that did not happen. And then the SmackDown Women's title match between Bayley and Tamina. Tamina has obvious ring rust, apparently. Bayley looked good and carried the match. But 5 out of 10 because Tamina looked like shit. No, nothing against her. Just whoever booked this fucking match thought this would be good is a fucking idiot. An imbecile. Dumbest motherfucker to live. And they're even stupider booking the Braun Strowman Bray Wyatt match. 3 out of 10. That was stupid as well. I got pissed off to a point. I didn't want to see Drew McIntyre fight Seth Rollins. But I sucked it up, and I did. Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins was an 8.5 out of 10. Good stuff. And if you split the 2 Money in the Bank matches, the women's side gets 7, the men's gets 6.5. So, in reality, 13.5 out of 20. This show gets a 6.5 out of 10 to me. Actually, I'll do a correction. 6 out of 10. I like this idea. It was crazy to have a fight up the corporate ladder, literally. It was a great idea. So, I give them credit to where credit's due. As far as the shitty matches go, fuck them. That's a fucking shit stain. That's a shit stain on this event, in my opinion. But, if you do enough good, people will forget the shit stain. But if you watch this event, you no matter how much you clean off and laundry the fucking turd, and if you cover it up with spray, eventually you're going to smell the hint of shit coming off your nose. That's what this show is about, really. It was good, but at the same time, something didn't feel right. But you make the best out of a shitty situation. So, that's what this was. Unbelievable. Okay. So, now that we reviewed Money in the Bank, out of curiosity, I checked out Monday Night Raw. Because I got several DMs and several text messages saying, hey, did you hear? Becky Lynch is going to have a major announcement. I'm like, really? So this is only like 2 hours before the broadcast comes in. So I get this news and I'm like, well, that's interesting, but let's see what happens. Okay. So the show opens up. We get highlights from from the previous Money in the Bank pay-per-view. We got the intro, blah blah blah, legendary, blah blah blah. Okay, so they announced that a match is gonna happen. Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black ain't dead, obviously. They said that they landed. There was some. I don't know what the fuck they said. Tom Phillips said it, that they landed on something back there. So there was something that they did that held them back, and they landed on. So, okay, fine. So Becky Lynch comes out, and this is how we start the episode of Monday Night Raw. And then she doesn't have her title, her Raw Women's Championship with her. And I said, huh? She has the Money in the Bank briefcase. Why? And then she's on the microphone, and she starts crying. And she starts crying, no, I'm here with a bit of happiness and sadness. And I'm like, this might be some deep shit. So let's see what happens. And she asked WWE, then she said something that WWE to raise the stakes in that Money in the Bank ladder match for the women. And then she talked about her WWE run and how everything she accomplished started here in the Performance Center back in 2013. And she's accumulated all that she's accomplished, titles and opportunities, and the fans supported her for over the years. And she says she has to go away for a while. And then Asuka arrives. Looked like she was all pissed off at first. Then Becky says she beat her when no one else could, and is glad that she won the Money in the Bank ladder match because it wasn't a win to win a title shot. She opened the case, and the title was in it. And she said that, you know what, it was actually for the Raw Women's Championship. You actually win it. So you are the champion, Asuka. So she relinquished because she said she can't fight no more. Asuka started celebrating, started dancing around the building. She went to the front in the entrance ramp. She started, and Becky congratulated her. Yeah, you are the champion. As happy as you are, I might be even happier because you could go on. So you hold that. You continue to be a warrior because I'm gonna go be a mother. Oh shit! Really? And Asuka's face was shocked, and she started congratulating her, and then she hugged her, congratulated her. You know, I have been watching wrestling. I've been watching wrestling for 29 years, and I've never seen a more genuine moment than that. I have never seen an episode of Monday Night Raw where it's been that real compassion moment. Because we haven't seen that shit in a long time. Usually when we have genuine moments, it's for sad things that happen. But this was very genuine. It was organic, and you know, it was a happy thing. Because Becky is pregnant, and she's gonna be a mom, and so she's gonna be gone for a while. That's the only negative out of the whole thing, but she got congratulated by Asuka. Then she went to the back, and everybody was all saying, "Oh, happy for congratulations!" They all started hugging her, and they all started talking to her, and they started clapping for her, and all that. That was really nice. Even Vince McMahon even popped up at one point, and he congratulated her. The old dupe that he is was happy for her. I hope he is happy for her, because I would. If I was the owner of that company, I'd say, you know what, congratulations. That's amazing news. And to do that on my show, that's incredible. I hope you become a good mom. That's all I say. And nonetheless, it was a great moment. And it's not that often you see moments like that on a wrestling show. I mean, we saw WrestleMania 33. John Cena proposed to Nikki Bella. But let's be honest. Nikki's a bitch. I like Brie, but I don't like Nikki. Nikki's a bitch. So, whatever. I mean, that was until I found out she was abused when she was 15 years old. Okay, all right, I'll give her that. Then that's something that you don't want to endure when you're young. You don't want to be traumatized. You don't want to be hurt. You don't want to be plagiarized by fucking people that work over your success. You just want to be. You want to be yourself. You want to make yourself stronger. And you know something? Usually I end my podcast on rants and raves, but I've did a little bit of that already. I feel like this was a genuine moment. And you don't really see this that often. Next week's episode is going to be hard to relive that type of moment, because you're going to go back to the same routine of having empty arena matches due to the pandemic that we're in. And you're going to continue to have jobbers from NXT get put over by athletically gifted wrestlers. Whatever. I don't give a fuck about the rest of the show. I like that moment. I mean, there was this one time that, Shayna Baszler got interviewed. What do you think about Becky? And she's like, oh, Becky? That kid's going to be a loser. That kid's going to be a loser. I mean, think of it this way. Who do you think the father is? I rest my case. But keep in mind, Shayna Baszler is a fucking heel. She's working to get legitimate heat. You don't understand that. See, I could get where she's coming from in this type of promo. It's very ballsy, but it fucking works. So I give credit to Shayna for fucking getting some heat. Just like I credit Ronda Rousey for getting heat for the wrestling fans. So I totally get it. Wow, what a fucking bitch. Why the fuck did she have to fucking ruin such a happy moment for her and all that shit? Why? What kind of fucking twat is she? Well, she's pretty clever for one thing. I don't think she's legitimately like that in real life. Some people get offended way too easy these days. But anyway, I'll briefly go through Raw real quick. And then I didn't take notes for Raw, so my analysis of it's a little bit blind, but at the same time, I already know what I saw was good, and I already know what I saw was bad. Lashley versus Humberto Carrillo. It was a no DQ match. 5.5 out of 10. It was okay. I think they could do better. Lashley just overpowered Humberto. Angel Garza versus Tozawa. It was less than 3 minutes. Find it funny. Tozawa is competing in the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, and he's a contender there. But in Raw, he ain't shit. 0. Big fat 0. Not for the wrestling ability, but it was short. It was a no rating. Drew McIntyre versus Andrade. I will give them both benefit of the doubt. I will give them a 7 out of 10. It was a good match. It lasted about a good while, and it prolonged it for some good wrestling. So they both had some chemistry. 7 out of 10. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Bliss Cross Applesauce is here. They're going to do a moment of bliss, and they were happy about the Mother's Day pass. Happy Mother's Day, especially to Becky, who's now going to become a mom. All of a sudden, the Iconics show up. Whoa, I haven't seen them in a while. Peyton Royce, Billy Kay. And first thing when I saw them, I said, yes, you can mimic Billy Kay's voice. You got to be joking, mate. Anyway, so they wanted a match. Non-title, however. The Iconics won this match, and yeah, it was a meh type match. Whatever. Not hating. They're okay. I'm pretty sure they're just a little bit of ring rust, so it's okay. They'll get used to back. They'll get used to, you know, they'll get back to their routine. R-Truth, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander versus MVP, Shane Thorne, and Brendan Vink. I got good news. Ricochet finally wins one. So then Cedric Alexander. 5.5 out of 10, though. Even though Ricochet and Cedric, and they had some good athleticism here, this was a bit of a fuck. It did last longer than 3 minutes, so I will give it a rating. 5.5 out of 10. Is Jinder Mahal babyface, or is he a heel? I'm confused. They hyped up the Undertaker documentary. Then the next matchup, Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. 6 out of 10. There was a brutal point when Rey Mysterio had his eye got his eye hit in the corner of the ring steps. So that was cringe-worthy, but nonetheless, wasn't bad of a match. Well, the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders have a little mini feud going on in the basketball court. I skipped it. Shayna Baszler versus Natalya. 3 out of 10. Sorry. It wasn't much. And that's how the show ended. We ended the show with Edge versus Randy Orton. Edge and Randy Orton have their confrontation. They've been gone for 6 weeks since WrestleMania. It was a boring fucking thing. Oh my God. So boring. Yes, the better man won. But you beat me in a last standing match. A match where you had a bit of an advantage. So, how about this? At Backlash, Edge versus Randy Orton in a good old-fashioned wrestling match. I went back to IWTV. I started going back to my independent wrestling because I couldn't understand why they're fucking doing it. Shit. Fuck. That whole Raw was a 3 out of 10. I hated it. I hated that. Well, okay. I'll add extra points, though. I'll add 2.5 points. That's 5.5 out of 10. Now, see, it's 5.5. The reason why I increased it to this much because of that moment that Becky Lynch announced that she's expecting, and once that happened, I was happy for her. So with that in mind, everyone caught everyone by surprise. I was happy for her. I mean, she's gonna be a good mom. She's gonna raise her kid to be tough, I'm sure, and she's gonna be a good kid, I'm sure. Seth Rollins, I'm pretty sure they got something going on. They're gonna do something with that kid, and he's gonna work hard to have parents look forward to him or her, depending on who it is. But like I said, it's a genuine moment. You can't top that. So that gets bonus points. So that's a 5.5 situation. So that's to me, that's a 10 out of 10 situation in a 3 out of 10 show. So 5.5 for Raw. And I'm only being super generous. I think the generosity has expired already on this podcast episode. So with that in mind, we'll be back next week for some other shit. Well, as some lockdowns are starting to slowly get lifted depending on where you live. Some of the rules are being adjusted. Hopefully we find a fucking... and by the way, fuck you, Matt Baker. Dr. Matt Baker from the World Health Organization. Fuck you, you fucking cocksucker. How dare you say that we may never have a vaccine and that the coronavirus may never go away. Stop fucking fear-mongering people. There you go. That's my rant. Okay, let's end this podcast episode. We'll be back next week for some more great wrestling action. I will find some footage to review, and maybe we'll review Dynamite and NXT again this week, because let's be honest, the Wednesday Night War is a bit fun to watch. Let's see what antics that the Inner Circle and the Elite are going to be up to. So, with that in mind, time to end this episode. This is Eric Peralta, aka the Wrestling Enthusiast, reminding you to wash your ass. See you guys next week.